Good morning, folks. Eric here, back with another standard video. Running it back for the third time in a row with a black-white sort of sacrifice-themed deck, exploring Tools of War some more. Our original build was trying to combine Rottenmouth Viper, Phoenix Fleet Airship, Tools of War, all these sort of pieces that I think ultimately I realized were two different decks. We had this Rottenmouth plan, and we had this Phoenix Fleet Airship Beseech the Mirror plan that didn't really mesh with each other. So we tested out the Phoenix Fleet Airship side last video, and I think that went really well. Check that out if you haven't yet. Phoenix Fleet Airship is just like a game-ending machine, and the flexibility of Beseech the Mirror and being able to wipe the board, etc., etc. A very cool deck. Today we're leaning more all in on the Viper. Rottenmouth Viper, 6-mana creature, elemental snake. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may sacrifice any number of non-land permanents. This spell costs 1 less for each permanent sacrificed this way. And when it enters or attacks, put a blight counter on it. Then for each blight counter on it, each opponent loses 4 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. Now, classically, these kinds of cards don't always tend to be the strongest, giving your opponents choices, whether they're sacrificing permanents, discarding cards, losing life. They're always going to choose the option that's best for them, right? But we can turbo this out really as fast as turn 3, and sometimes with haste with our Lava Spur boots to not only present a pretty fast early body, but it enables a lot of our sacrifice synergies as well, including Obsessive Pursuit, which has just been insane with the Viper. Obsessive Pursuit, new card from Avatar along with Tools of War. When it enters and at the beginning of your upkeep, lose 1 life and create a clue token. And whenever you attack, put X/1/1 counters on target attacking creature, where X is the number of permanents you've sacrificed this turn. If X is 3 or greater than that, creature gains lifelink until end of turn. So you play out some small creatures, which we're playing 12 1-drops, all that either die or bring a token along with them. When they enter, present a board. Say you go like turn 1, Novice Inspector, turn 2, Obsessive Pursuit, turn 3, another Dinker, sacrifice everything to the Viper, and then swing with like a 5 power maybe, creature with lifelink, and you have a Rottenmouth Viper in play. So you just have these really like big bursty boards. I think if you were to play this deck on your own, you can see that I'm only running 2 Obsessive Pursuit right now. It's because I only own 2 on Arena, you know? Problem with brewing a lot of decks is you use a lot of wild cards, and I'm currently a little short. It always happens like this when a new set drops and you're just interested in testing all the new cards. You craft so many things that you just run out. And as a relatively free-to-play player, I just have to wait sometimes, and that's just part of the game, right? So right now, today, this is my deck list. If I were really invested in this deck, I think I would highly recommend 4 Obsessive Pursuit. I think this plays as like the best card in our deck, pretty much. But we're on 4 Tools of War. When it enters, create a clue token. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent during your turn, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. Triggers only once per turn, but that's okay. We have Caretaker's Talent as well. And all of these things in conjunction sort of lend to a very grindy, fill up the board with a lot of tokens, continue to draw, restabilize if need be with Caretaker's Talent, and just try to get your opponent with the snake. A couple backup players include Sephiroth, Bartolome del Presidio, one solid full-on sack outlet in Bartolome, as well as Sephiroth, which can also, with a board full of creatures produced by the Tools of War, can just like give us a lot of extra reach with the Viper. Like I said, a couple Lava Spur boots, also really, really good with Bartolome and Sephiroth. Don't sleep on the boots. It's only 1 mana to cast, 1 mana to equip. Gives ward 1 and 1 power, which could be relevant sometimes. Whew, okay. And we're testing one Raven Eagle, also from the new set, kind of like a Graveyard Trespasser with flying. Maybe in some cases a little worse, maybe in some cases a little better. As for our mana base, once again, still waiting on getting some more Concealed Courtyards here. Pretty standard. Testing out one Fabled Passage, just because it is kind of interesting with Obsessive Pursuit and Tolls of War, which only care about sacrificed permanents, not necessarily non-land permanents. So fetching with the Fabled Passage once again triggers that. Looking at our sideboard here, we are on a couple Dusk Rose Reliquary for creature matchups, a couple Soul Guide Lanterns, a couple Scavenger's Talent. This gives us a little more reach against control, or another angle of attack, where instead of having just to attack in, maybe they've gained a bunch of life, maybe they have an authority of the consoles on the field, we can now turn our focus on just sacrificing things and milling our opponent out. Couple Get Lost, 4 Soul Search. I think this is the most like versatile in these colors, most versatile answer to things like the Kona deck. And it gives us it's not duress, it's not intimidating. Intimidating the creature one, the creature duress. It hits any non-land card. Which all these combo decks, including like Kona right now, it's not always a non-creature card that you need to take. Sometimes it's just Kona, right? So having the flexibility there, even though it costs 1 more mana, I think is kind of important right now. And 3 Day of Judgment for all of the blue-green go-wide decks that there are right now. Okay, let's jump into a few games. Probably won't play more than that this morning. I've been testing it out quite a lot. I think my record is maybe like 2-1 on the ladder this morning. It's been playing very well. Hopefully we get to show that off a bit. Jumping right in here against Bobby 1-Up. This is an okay hand. It's a little land heavy, but I think having these like Novice Inspectors on the field early is pretty important. Are we in the mirror? No way. Did they figure it out too? Are they on the Viper tech or just doing sort of a classic Aristocrats thing? Nice, nice. Okay, a little slow from our end. Let's just... I think we play out the Inspector here so that we can guarantee Viper next turn. I think that feels more important in this matchup than like just drawing. Raven Eagle could be interesting here, depending if they start sacrificing their like non-token creatures here soon. Scavenger's Talent in the main, interesting. Yep. Okay, so they figured something similar out. This Obsessive Pursuit card is so nuts. It's maybe not on the same power level as Proft's Eidetic Memory, but to me it feels like it is comparable. It generates card advantage every turn, makes your creatures bigger. I would say, obviously not replacing itself immediately is probably somewhat of a downside comparably, but we'll just take it here. But the fact that it gives lifelink on attack in this deck really helps you restabilize and grind games out. Let's go ahead. We can play the Tolls of War, generate a clue, sacrifice our whole board, and get a Viper out. Recreate a 1/1. That puts us a little weak to Bartolome. Well, I think it's okay. We get a Viper on the field. We're giving up some clues, but we have this Raven Eagle in our hand that we want to play anyway. Oh, I should have attacked first. That was an oops. We'll throw out an oops there. I'm just so excited to get the Viper out. If we somehow end the game and that 2 damage matters, we'll flog ourselves, but it should be okay. Just kidding. Nice. On the Tolls of Vortec. It's really strong. Once again, another card that just replaces itself and then grinds forever. They can currently do a big life-linking attack if they want, but that's not probably going to be how they win the game. I can imagine this going to, like, we're both making a bunch of tokens every turn, and he has a scavenger's talent, so Bobby's going to probably eventually just mill me out, is where I see this going, unless he doesn't have an answer for my Viper, at which point they will just have to, like, sacrifice everything. Play a land, swing in with the Vipes. They'll make a food token. I wonder if they're on Caretaker's talent. Giving up some life here. Okay, sacrificing to draw 2, nice. Play a Booter for chumps, and we'll play our Raven Eagle here. Now if they're on some kind of, like, they could be intending to mill themselves and raise the past, so Raven Eagle might actually help us clean up that option for them. Went to F&M yesterday. Actually turned out to be a Avatar release draft. There were about 11 people in the pod. It was kind of an odd number. We weren't sure if we should split into like a pod of 5 or 6 or just do a big draft table. We ended up drafting as 11. And I kind of memed around a little bit. I wasn't sure where to go early on, and I grabbed a Rock-a-Lanch, and I was like, maybe I just see if no one else is doing this and force mono green. And I did, and it worked out okay. I ended up having to buy the first round and lost to like blue-red spells with Wan Chi Tong. And then won my third match. So I overall 2-1, I guess. I mean, if you include the bye. Had a pretty fun time. Set seems kind of sweet. This is a great draw here. We can just... I'm going to play this. I'm going to plan to swing in with both of these. I want to keep my Viper going as much as I can. And then they're on the line breaker. So they're really in on sort of the aristocrat style. I think my deck probably seems a little more grindy. Comparatively, we get the Rain from the Eagle. Wow, they're just taking the damage to the face, huh? Eventually they might just have to block, don't you think? Okay, let's get up our Ptolemy of our own. Let's sacrifice this treasure. I don't think we need to copy the token. Worst comes to worst, we can chump with Bartolome, but I think getting this on the field and being able to like actually keep them off of the lifelink is going to be a pretty big game changer here. But yeah, set is sweet. In my opinion, one of the best universes beyond sets so far. I'm a big Avatar fan in the first place, but the mechanics also are very, very interesting. Firebending, airbending, earthbending, waterbending. I think waterbending is probably my least favorite. It's maybe the least interesting. I like the idea of it, but to me, I think the other three are a little more, in terms of Magic mechanics, unique and have introduced some interesting play into not only the limited but constructed as well, as we're seeing here. Maybe not in my deck as far as the bending goes, but just avatar cards in general, I suppose. Sacrifice another creature when you do destroy target non-land permanent. Maybe I should be in on this. Seems pretty cool. Very flexible. Killing my snake. Okay, well, we can sacrifice the snake to Bartolome. My Raven Eagle might actually go the distance kind of in this board. They need to level up the Scavenger's talent, though, I think. And threaten milling me. Genuinely, I don't know. I think that seems like a pretty good angle of attack. Targeting themselves. It's a little interesting. They might not know that. I mean, I'm not on Scavenger's talent in the main, but like, were I to be, milling themselves seems a little dangerous, right? Servandum. Not a card I thought about. We're not really about sacrificing creatures generally. We're more so just about sacrificing permanents. Okay. Interesting. Good attack on their part, I think. Let's just do this. They can gain 6 again and hit me for another 6. Not much I can do about that. I don't think trading Bartolome here makes a whole lot of sense. Starting town, not ideal. I think we have to keep swinging in with the Raven Eagle. Let's get Servandum out of the picture here. Draw our card. Kind of a neat combination here. Okay. Tolls of War is a good draw. More blocks. Let's go ahead and crack a clue. And then probably best to duplicate, copy a token here, an ally. We're going to be able to trigger this for draws every turn anyway, as long as it's on the field. I think I'd like to nab the Ruthless Lawbringer next, just to keep them off of like leveling up the talent to level 3 and then reanimating it to pop my talent. I'm not feeling super confident that we're going to win this game. Who knows? Scout for Survivors is really cool. Nice. I've been trying to make this card work. It seems better to me than Raise the Past in this kind of deck for exactly this reason. It's a little more flexible, and oh, you've got to kill the Caretaker's talent, right? Okay. A little more flexible, and I think the ceiling is also like it's different. It's different. Obviously, the ceiling of Raise the Past is very, very high, but in like the floor of Scout for Survivors is a lot higher, where you don't. How often realistically are people raising the past for like a million creatures, right? You only hit a few, really, unless you're like waiting for a really big one. Scout for Survivors is cheaper, comes down faster, right? And puts the counters on your dinkers, which can be really relevant. Plus, it lets you grab these 3-drops in these situations where it might just be better to do that than grab a bunch of 1 and 2 drops. Kind of interesting. Let's see another Tolls of War. Let's just keep going with those. Gonna keep attacking. Ooh. Piece of candy. Get talent number 2 out. We have to sacrifice a permanent here. Draw a couple cards. What are we hoping to find? A Viper seems okay. I can't really reasonably play it this turn, so maybe we just hold it. I kind of have a feeling I want to copy another token. Another ally. Just in case they actually have removal. And then we'll just play a tap starting town here. We got to get our Caretaker's talents online, I think. They're milling me. Unfortunately, maybe one short sight sort of in my main board here is I don't think I have any removal for this guy. I'm kind of all in on just like being a bit of a combo deck, I suppose. Once I get another like Bartolome on the field, it shouldn't be as much of a problem. But I'm kind of liking the looks of the Ruthless Lawbringer here. As a very general answer whatever you need to answer in that moment sort of effect. Sephiroth would be an interesting draw. Yeah, I don't think I'm in this one, gang. I think they're just going to gain a lot of life here, and they're going to continue to mill me out. Might just be best to scoop it up. We'll see. We'll give it one more draw step. They're pretty much just gonna mill me right here. I'm just gonna scoop. You got it. Let's bring in the talents of our own. Bring in some removal. Don't think we want the Get Losts, actually. Giving them more permanence seems bad. Soul Guide Lanterns. Bring in a couple Day Judgments. Gives us an interesting angle here. Actually, let's bring in all 3. They might not expect that. And I don't think Soul Search is that important here. This is Exile, which is nice, but... Let's go down a Boots. Let's go down both the Boots. I don't think this is that kind of matchup. I think Caretaker's Talent plus Day of Judgment is kind of the interesting angle that we have on them that they're not going to necessarily see coming. I think we can maybe cut all the Vipers here. They're just going to have so much stuff to sacrifice, and the 6/6 is not that relevant against how many little guys they're able to produce. Sephiroth seems really good. Maybe go down a couple freebooters and plan to grind a little more. Maybe we go down all the freebooters. We'll bring in a couple Soul Search. Help us answer some. Maybe we need to Get Lost, though, in that case, too. Let's go. Okay, we'll go down the Soul Searches. We'll put in 1 Get Lost for a 2 Get Lost. Obviously the maps are good for them, but like we have to answer their scavenger's talent, I think. This looks good. We're kind of in a more of like a classically tokens sort of area now. I think it's okay. Let's just go one Get Lost. We have the Day of Judgments. We'll save the Get Lost for when we really need to answer the scavenger's talent. Take the play. I'm gonna keep this on the power of basically all of the cards here. Yes, I'm down like a black source, but we pretty much only need white mana for this hand anyway. Hopefully we can scry into a black source here. We'll skip that. I think this like Caretaker's Talent, Day of Judgment angle might be a little unexpected. Umbral Collar Zealot. Oh, also sacks artifacts. Interesting. Okay, well, we have to pass, unfortunately. I like what they're on. I like what they're about here. Really more of a classic aristocrat style. I'll trade 2 rabbits for a zealot. Why not? Godless Shrine. Let's just get the talent on the field here. Hopefully they can't answer this right away. I think they're also maybe missing a land drop then, if they're digging like that. Okay. What would we like to see? Tolls of War is a really good draw. Lets us trigger our Caretaker's Talent and really maximize our mana here. Like if we don't draw another land, we do draw another land. So let's get our own Bartolome on the field here. And then I'd like to really just jam the Scavenger's Talent here soon. Scout for Survivors. Okay. Well, Day of Judgment's looking better and better. Maybe we just do that. Make them think about what they want to sack here. Trade. Okay. Raven Eagle. Maybe we like the Raven Eagle line. Raven Eagle, exile Bartolome, draw a card, and then see what happens from there. Keep them off of getting Bartolome back. Nice little combo. Unfortunately, we're not triggering our own sacrifice here, but we can play a Callous Inspector, block, and then trigger our talent on their turn. Okay, nice to see that go. Makes our board wipe a little better. They might be setting up for like a Sephiroth angle here. Looking pretty decent. Okay, once again, Sandbender Scavengers, new card from Avatar. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. When this creature dies, you may exile it. When you do, return target creature card with mana value less than or equal to this creature's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. Seems interesting. Well, we'll just take the blocks as they are. They can blow up our talent if they wish. Another Day of Judgment's pretty good. Let's go ahead and swing. Exile their Zealot and then wipe the board. We're going to lose our talent in the process, but we're pretty ahead on cards here. And then we actually have this like double talent set up for a huge mill turn. Day of Judgment. This keeps them off of like the critical mass they need to do a big Sephiroth thing. They're going to have a little flexibility here. Probably end up with Servandum back on the field after all is said and done. They'll be able to bot my talent. Maybe I should have played the Scavenger's talent first just to get a food off of this, but I don't really want them to know that that's what I'm cooking up. Alright, let's just pass. Let's just play it tapped and pass. I might end up just wiping the board again if they decide to go all out. Yeah, I mean, if they decide to go all out here, I'm just gonna wipe the board again. Sephiroth. Day of Judgment, kinda good. Puts them into a position where they really need to draw some graveyard action. I hope we nab our Soul Guide Lantern. That would lock things up here pretty nicely, I think. They get to blow up my Tolls of War. Oh no. They don't. Sweet. Right. Well, let's get our talent on the field then. And maybe it makes more sense to play the Inspector there, but the Tolls of War of their own. Not a bad top deck. I have a lot more resources than them right now, though. I think I'd like to level up the talent. Okay, cool. They're gonna scoop it up. Sweet. Looked pretty good with the Day of Judgments there. Maybe for this final sideboard game, now that they're a little more aware of what's going on, we probably want a couple Soul Search. Feels like correct to me. Maybe go down one talent. One Reliquary. The Dusk Rose Reliquary is only actually kind of good against Bartolome. But they have a lot more. Like, it's just more important to wipe their board, really, right? looking kind of good. Interesting first matchup. I don't often play the mirror pretty much in any match because I'm usually on something different. Usually I'm playing I'm not like the other girls, you know, so usually I'm playing something you know, that no one else is really doing quite in the same way. And they're not, you know, the exact same deck, but they're doing a lot of similar stuff. We're both kind of trying to race for the Scavenger's talent in this match, I think. Keep this. Not the best, not the worst. Turn 2 Obsessive Pursuit's pretty good, I think. Shock. Into Novice Inspector. Nizumi Linebreaker. Ooh, another Obsessive Pursuit. Interesting. Fortunately, our Novice Inspector lines up quite nicely into their Linebreaker. Doesn't it look like this guy has a little pompadour? Is that what's going on? It's not, right? It's like a cape, perhaps? On top of his head? Top of its head? Let's go ahead and... I think we go like Obsessive Pursuit into Tolls of War, fetch next turn, maybe? Oh, we're actually almost on like a big Obsessive Pursuit angle. Okay, they're gonna blow up my Obsessive Pursuit. Smart, smart. Good thing we have another one. No blocks. I think it's important to keep this around for a second. Verge is a pretty good draw. How do we just like not die though? Maybe we go Carrot Cake, threaten double blocks. Bowls of War, pop Carrot Cake, and then threaten like the Obsessive Pursuit attack. Oh, the Obsessive Pursuit attack 2 turns from now. If we do it like this, you know, them being on the play and having the initiative and a couple 3/2s here, I think another creature's a fine draw. No attacks. This sets us up nicely for Verge into Sacrifice Carrot Cake. 2 more 1-drops. Sorry, Verge, Tolls of War, Carrot Cake. Let's kill off the Zealot. They could have us scout for survivors, and it's not bad here. It wouldn't be bad either way. And then we want to save the fetch crack for next turn to like trigger the lifelink on our Obsessive Pursuit. Oh no. We're not going to have enough mana to do it all, I think. So let's go Tolls of War. I think it's pretty important to get this down. We'll crack our Carrot Cake for extra blockers. We'll skip on a Bleachbone Verge for now. We'd like to see like a Bartolome, I think. Something that we can like really go off with the Obsessive Pursuit with. They sack their clue. Kind of a tense game, Bobby 1-up. Kind of a tense game. Swings with a 2/2. Oh, we'll just take that. Ruthless Lawbringer, huh? I think we just have to block here. I don't think we're winning the game where we're like just taking beats over and over. I think let's get some... Let's trigger the Tolls of War. Draw a card. Soul Search, interesting. We have two options. We could soul search them now, keep them off of. Gosh, I really don't know what they would even have. I feel like they're just playing stuff out every turn anyway. Like, I'm not sure what they would even hold back here. Maybe they have a Day of Judgment of their own. Oh, they're scooping up. Scooping it up. They don't like how slow I'm playing. They have all lands in their hand. Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. They had all lands in their hand, and they said enough was enough. Sorry, Bobby. Go ahead and let's open a couple packs. Come on. See if we can craft another Obsessive Pursuit. Or open another Obsessive Pursuit. It's the free-to-play life. You're a little rat taking any chance you get to crack these packs, baby. Realm of Co. Alright. Match one down. Mirror. I kind of feel like Bobby conceded a little too soon, but it is what it is. We'll take the win. Their version looked pretty solid, a little more all-in even than ours. I like that comparatively ours has the ability to sort of shift into the more controlling, grinding, take full advantage of the fact that like we have this really recursive and resilient board state with Tolls of War and Caretaker's Talent. Whereas they're playing almost all creatures, right? Which eventually does just fold to Day of Judgment. Decent hand. I don't see any reason to mulligan this. We'd like, obviously, just a few more lands in the long run. They're mulliganing twice, down to 5. Forest. Saz's Chocobo. An old friend. Okay, land is a good draw. Haven't seen Saz's Chocobo in a little while. If they swing, and we block, that lets us play a turn 2 Caretaker's Talent, which is kind of an interesting angle. Yeah, I don't really see a reason not to do that. It kind of feels like they're off to a bit of a slow start. More carrot cake. I think we've had enough. We've had our fill of cake for now. Is it better to just play a cake now and then talent, copy a rabbit, trigger the draw? I kind of like this. If we draw another 1-drop creature, I think that fills the gap a little more nicely. Maybe lets us play the Godless Shrine tapped. Mossborn Hydra. Don't love to see that in our deck without removal. There's our 1-drop creature. We may be able to make Bartolome bigger than the Hydra. Eventually. I think Rottenmouth Viper looks pretty good on this board, actually. So really what they would love to see is like Traveling Chocobo into Fabled Passage off the top. Would probably be their best course of sequence of events here. Another Hydra is really nice. Do they have big lands? They do. Okay, gonna be a bit of a problem. The lesson here, I think, is maybe we put removal into our deck. Probably not the worst idea in a black-white Dirtle deck. We can chump the Chocobo, draw a card, not irrelevant. Another Bartolome won't do it. Rebooter's fine. Boots are kind of interesting. So we go shock. Let's say they have like garbage in their hand. Let's say it's 2 more Hydras, right? And then they draw another. Like they have a Hydra and they draw another Hydra. They don't have us dead on board quite yet, although we're getting pretty close. Maybe I need to leave back. No, I think I just have to go all in here. We sack. Oh. Man, I don't have the, I should have done the quick math. We don't have the like density of things that we need for this play, I think. Maybe we play out the Viper here and set up for a big Bartolome next turn if they like swing out. Or another Viper. Can we support that? Another Viper with haste? That's kind of interesting. Sure. I mean, if they have a land or like a fetch, especially, this is all moot, but let's see what we can get going. Pass the turn. Another Hydra. Hey. Part 1 of the plan. Okay, part 2 of the plan, not as smooth. So we have to give up our Viper. Unfortunately. We'll go to 1. Okay. I kind of feel like this turn starts with copying the treasure token. Hope we draw. Like this is a mana neutral play. Hope we draw. Could just be dead. Could just be dead. Four leaves us with enough to, I don't know, equip the boots. We'll see if they expect. They're just gonna take the damage, but and then they block and take 2 more damage or two more triggers. Yeah, it's kind of close. If they didn't actually have another creature there, say they just had a land drop and swung out, we could have, I think, gotten something interesting going there at the very least. Let's bring in our removal. Go down 1 boots in this matchup. Soul Search doesn't seem very good when all they really want is land drops. But disrupting their stuff is also, I think it's just better to kill their stuff on the board. We'll cut a, actually, I was kind of impressed with Raven Eagle once we got going. Cut a Viper. I think the freebooters are probably better than the inspectors here. Got some inspectors. Got a couple caretakers talent. We really don't want to be gummed up with them. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something like that. Sephiroth seems okay. Maybe we just go down one Sephiroth, though. Not that good against them. Not a very big body. Decent hand. Decent hand. Would be nice to see a board wipe, but no removal, unfortunately, also. But a solid curve out. Llanowar Elves. Get lost, nice. I think I like the carrot cake best here, actually, because we get to scry for lands, yeah. And then I think we play another... Ooh, Earthbender Ascension, nice. Seems good for this deck, yeah. Nasty. Nasty card. Wow. I might have to try this out. I was talking on Reddit with another user recently about a Stelly Reclaimer, and they mentioned in like a Mightform Harmonizer World Lumbering World Wagon list, and they mentioned feeling like they didn't have like great targets for the Reclaimer necessarily. But I think this might be it. It's like a creature that is another so it kind of does everything, right? You search for a basic, put it on the field tapped. It's a creature, and it's like another landfall outlet and trample provider. It kind of does everything for that deck, I think. Seems pretty good. Let's get another carrot cake on the field. Bowls of War is nice, but we really just need a little more real action, I think. Let's play into block with the freebooter. It's okay. So yeah, Earthbender Ascension. Another thing to do on 3. Ramps you up, puts you in a position to do some pretty good stuff. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. I particularly like the whenever a land you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. When you do, if it has 4 or more quest counters on it, 1/1 counter on target creature you control and trample. That adds up so quickly, and it's so easy to like just incidentally turn this on. It gives itself a quest counter, so really you only need 2 extra land drops before it starts doing anything, which is like nothing. This seems pretty solid. I'm gonna have to give this a try. Ordeal of Nylea. Oh, kind of a nice combo here. Already got counters. Triggers very quickly. Turns on the Earthbender Ascension. Let's unmute our opponent and hit them with a nice deck in earnest. And then mute them again. Grabbing some islands. So this is trampling now. I kind of can't help but feel like we want the scry and access to the treasure next turn. Just my gut. Just kind of a gut play. Yeah, we'll take a land. We'll take a land. Lets us get going with our Tolls of War, which looks a little slow right now, but I think we can afford to wait on... I think we can just scry here. We can afford to hold the get lost. I don't think they're threatening us with like a crazy big attack quite yet. Could be wrong. We'll pass on this land here. And we'll hit them for 2. Oh, this maybe was not great. They're holding the land drop. Okay, cool. Because they could have just put a counter on an elf and blocked. Gang, I don't know. This might be a tough matchup, especially if I play it like doo-doo garbage. Which I just might. Genomorph Imago raises the base power and toughness of the forest. You have like a power and toughness doubler, or are you also playing Mightform Harmonizer? Kind of a sweet deck. Kind of a sweet idea here with the Imago. These are 0/0s, right? It'll be a 6/6 at least trampler, 11/11. Sorry, I don't know where I got 6/6. 6/6, base 6/6, plus 4/5. Presumably they have another land, 6. So 12/12 trampler, which is not quite enough yet, but it's interesting. Splashing blue, likely have like repulsive mutation to counter whatever they want, really. Traveling Chocobo, doubling land drop triggers. They might not have a land in hand if they're doing that. Otherwise, I think they would have left the elf to attack with this double trigger situation. Doubles the trigger of their Earthbender Ascension with the Traveling Chocobo. Okay. But they're pretty tapped out now. If I kill the forest, it comes back and triggers their Earthbender Ascension again. A lot of interesting stuff here. Probably our best draw is just a Day of Judgment now. Land off the top. Not great for me. I don't think I'm dead, so I don't... Well, I guess it depends on what they play right now. Oh, they have another Ordeal of Nylea, which is 2 more land drops. Oh. They tap out for a Snakeskin Veil? And they don't attack. What you doing, Poppy Poopy Popo? Just flub? Why'd you do that? Well, how do we punish him for it? I think we can afford to draw a card. We could maybe even... Okay, this is greedy. I was going to say play the Tolls of War, draw a card. Hope we hit a land and kill... Kill what? I don't know. What do we even kill? The Earthbender Ascension? It's the only way they're trampling right now. Let's play the Tolls of War. Let's use the treasure. Make some 1/1s. And we gotta bop something here. I think to me the Earthbender Ascension makes the most sense. Just because it's their source of trample right now. And we hold back blockers. Another Imago means another flying attacker. Let's chalk this up as a loss. I mean, I'm probably going to lose ultimately anyway. But a loss for sure. I think they would have had me if they just attacked properly. Still hoping for a Day of Judgment. Tifa doesn't do a whole lot. They used their maps up already. Kinda nice. Escape tunnel. Alright. There's some interesting things you can do with escape tunnel, but I don't think they can on this board. Oh, they can give the elf unblockable if they wanted to here. Nope, they decide not to. Why are they fetching? What you doing, Poppy Poope Popo? Poppy Poope Popo. Poppy Poope Popo. Popo. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of a weird play here all around. And if they do attack the Ordeal of Nylea, I think they have to sack it, which just really doesn't impact anything here. We're just hoping to find a Day of Judgment pretty much at this point. Maybe we should have left the treasure back last turn to help us try to dig. What else could get us in the game? Pretty much nothing. Day of Judgment or bust. And if they have a repulsive mutation here, which I doubt they do at this point. I guess they could just not have land drops. Plaza's Chocobo off the top. Callous Inspector. We draw a card. More chumps on the ground. Godless Shrine. Play Godless Shrine tapped. Leave up Carrot Cake. Survive through 2 big flyers, maybe? 14 will be 6/6 plus 2. We have enough blockers. Okay. No attacks. Pass it back. Traveling Chocobo. Land drop. Kind of just wish they would play a little faster. No offense. I see that you have a lot of triggers, but like there's not much to think about here, you know? It's not rocket science. We have to gain the life because of the flyers. Scry. Help us dig. Rottenmouth Viper will not do it. Day of Judgment or bust. If we hit a land, we have a redraw. Oh no, gaining the life was not enough. How did I miscount that? I'm just freaking bad at math, I guess. Alright, well, good enough. They had us anyway. Let's go into one final match and then call it there. I got some stuff I gotta do today, so. One mo again. Run it back. Rottenmouth Viper ordered them out in 2 matchups. Kind of weird. Maybe that's a deck building mistake. Maybe that's a me mistake. Maybe I'm just not assessing how good it can be in certain situations. I think we have to mulligan that 1 lander. Okay, this is the exact kind of hand I want to see like every time. The Rottenmouth, a Dinker into Obsessive Pursuit, into Rottenmouth. Maybe not right away, but eventually. Another landfall deck. Okay. Let's play the pursuit. Overall, this is just more clues for next turn. Maybe we chump. I don't think attacking gets us much here. Don't think blocking gets us a whole lot either. I think ideally I go Tolls of War. Tolls of War, Inspector next turn. And then Viper. Not blocking. Okay, land is good. So we go... Maybe we just jam out a Viper. It's pretty fast. But I think at the same time it's just better to have Tolls of War on the field when we do it, and the Inspector's kind of huge because it's like a menace attacker for our Obsessive Pursuit, our big Obsessive Pursuit turn, which might be pretty difficult for them to deal with. I think delaying one more turn is right. Like Sting, I'm getting Tantric on this turn. We're going to delay it a little bit. Let's go ahead and block. I think that's okay. Doesn't change things a whole lot. Another Tolls of War is kind of sweet. Gives us something we can do before we Viper, and I think we're kind of off to the races. Unless they absolutely murder us in response. Which they could do. Let's sacrifice exactly 5 here. One thing about Vipers, you can choose to sacrifice more permanents if you'd like to. I think having a redraw next turn. Oh, that's a treasure. Yeah, kind of even better. Having a treasure next turn is not the worst idea. Menace 6/6 lifelink. They're going crazy with the triggers now. But we've padded our life total a decent amount here. And they can't swing with both, otherwise I think they're just dead to the Inspector again. Yeah, they might just be dead. I don't know. If I take it, they have to double block the Inspector, pretty much. I think. I mean, I guess we need to hit another thing to sacrifice. Ooh. And an untapped land. Maybe we got the read wrong here. I still think they have to... Well, we have to just swing, right? Let's pump a token. Yeah, I think if we had one more permanent to sacrifice, this would have done it. Dang. Like if we just had... If this starting town was an untapped land... Because we could sack a treasure, sack the clue, put 3 counters on an ally, swing. With an Inspector, they have to block. So either they block the Inspector, take 10, or block. Oh, they're scooping. No offense, Logikill, but you had the lethal, I think. I think once again, my landfall opponent's making me look better than I am, perhaps. Once again, we bring in removal. Let's leave in the Vipers this time. Let's give them a chance. Take out a couple talents. Let's take out a few talents. Maybe it's just a little slow for this matchup. Let's leave in the boots. Let's just go 2 Day of Judgment? No, it's really good in this matchup. I think Fast Viper maybe, like, board wipes delay the game and are really nice, and we want them. Fast Viper maybe is also another angle for us here. Maybe we cut the Bartolomews, because they're never going to be bigger than what our opponents are doing. Got a Sephiroth. I kind of like this. This could be interesting. Leaving the boots, leaving the Vipers. Board wipe, and then sack our clues to, like, hit him with a Fast Viper for the kill. Mulligan this, keep this. I think Inspector is worse. Callous Inspector is worse than Novice Inspector typically here. Start off with an Evolving Wilds. Double Get Lost. Nice. Next turn, I think we plan to shock ourselves and sacrifice a clue on their turn, holding up Get Lost. Well, I guess we don't have to shock ourselves quite yet. There's nothing that'll make us regret that. I guess if they tap out for a Hydra, we can probably go just Get Lost it while they're tapped out. I would assume they brought in some kind of protection here. Bristly Bill. I'm gonna Get Lost to Bristly Bill. Okay. No stops on. Means they currently do not have a Snakeskin Veil. We'll just play out our hand a little bit here. We have a Fabled Passage that we can trigger our Tolls of War with. Rex Sage on our Tolls of War. Not a huge deal. We got our clue. Their Escape Tunnel. Let's go ahead and just draw a card here. And then maybe we suit up an Inspector. Ooh. I'm gonna just play the Inspector. Let's save the fetch. No, let's suit up the Inspector here. I think once I played it, I just kind of have to commit to this line now. Maybe I should have just held everything. For like a density of, I guess we can block the Sage for a density of sacrifice effects for a big pursuit swing, but I think this is okay. 2/1 Menace coming in at ya. It's not nothing. Traveling Chocobo. The land that we know about. A Shuffle. They have nothing. It's probably a waste to do that quite yet. Clear the top with a map. I mean, if you're not drawing a land and you have lands, you should probably just wait on the map, my friend. You don't need to spend all of your mana every turn, every game. And end up at, no offense, 73% Mythic. I don't think we're in a super duper rush here. Let's play the Pursuit. Let's sacrifice a clue. And put a counter on our Inspector. Menace 3/2, a little more interesting. They want to block with the Chocobo, they can. They do not. Hydra pretty good. We have removal. We have a threat. And we just need to Keep them in check for a little bit here. So eager to get the Fabled Passage on the field. Make this a big boy. I think we just take this, I suppose. We're winning the race right now, otherwise. Duskrow's Reliquary is nice. Let's play the Inspector. Maybe we need to hold this Inspector as another beater, actually, and we just sack a clue to the Reliquary. I'm afraid that if we play the Tolls of War and go for like maximum sacrifice value, we're just going to get Snakeskin Veiled, so I want to hold the Get Lost. I think probably just the cleanest to do this. And then they can save their Hydra with a Veil, and then we in fact kill the Hydra. Nope, okay. We can sacrifice a clue then. Rottenmouth Viper is nice. We have the boots with the fur. Cool. Okay, this is going pretty well. I mean, our opponent maybe not making the most optimal plays in the face of everything here, but we do what we can. Save their Hydra. Not the end of the world. Ward 2, kind of relevant here. Tapped out. Hitting them with a big Callous Inspector still. We may be able to set up kind of a neat turn where we like... What do you have? Fetching, where we like sack a bunch of our board and kill the Hydra and force them to block with a bunch of their board. Are you like fighting? Okay. Well, this is not a huge deal. They're like super tapped out now. Now removal for the Hydra. And they're swinging with the Traveling Chocobo. I kind of like... I guess I like not blocking because I can force them to chump with both of the Rex Sages next turn, I think. Or something close to that. I don't think this extra 4 damage is going to be that relevant here. Okay, so we can go... We can go... I want to play the Get Lost. I think I just have to get lost the Hydra. Play the Viper and just accept that we're not going to be able to haste it. Get lost the Hydra. I think that's pretty non-negotiable. Too big and tramply. Play the Inspector. Gives us another thing to sacrifice. Sacrifice everything except the boots. Or sorry, everything except the Pursue and the Attacker. And swing with the big lifelinker. And I think we're doing okay. They should probably just take it and hope they can like somehow combo off into a lethal attack next turn. Maybe with like an Earthbender Ascension. Not relevant against my deck at all. I think we got to do one more match after this. I don't think this is a great representation necessarily. I could see why you might think that this is relevant though. Black-white aristocrats classically has some element of reanimating. But not here, unfortunately. It's like they just discovered what maps are. No offense. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know where my bully came from this morning. So I block, they pump. I just won't block. Now they have to block everything and give up like their hand, which I don't think they can win through. I'm gonna play the Tolls of War here first because I think I want a chumper on the back end. Boots. Kind of interesting. Turn these sideways. Force them to go hellbent. Leaves them live to like overprotect on the top deck. They have to, now they're in a position I think where they have to top deck overprotect or Earthbender Ascension into Fabled Passage. Sorry, my mom's calling me. Okay, well, that's the game. I'm gonna get back to my mom here, like a good son. So I guess we'll just call it there, a 2-1 overall. And maybe I'll pick back up in a second in the edit. We'll see. All right, editing magic. We're back. Let's jump into match number 3. Just a quick call from the mom. Gonna see her tomorrow. Which is exciting. Exciting stuff. And my grandma. They're both coming over. Maybe my aunt too. It's a whole family affair. But anyway, back into back into more important things. Ooh. On the play, decent hand. Great. Well, pretty great hand actually. Kind of have everything we could ever want here. Maybe you could argue we lead on the Fabled Passage, but I have faith we draw a land against Hearn. Top 144. Nice going, Hearn. Let's get our Carrot Kit going. Hope we scry into our extra land here. If not, not a huge deal. Well, I'm not going to pass on the Viper. Not with this kind of start. No problem. We can play the Tolls of War next turn and fetch. They're on a show-off sort of game plan. Can I just Viper them? Play the Inspector. 5 permanents on the field. Viper them? That's kind of nice. a little less nice if they have something like Sheltered by Ghosts, which is not necessarily uncommon in these sort of white splash situations. I think we'll take the land here. We can play our Fabled Passage and not fetch. And that lets us, like, get our Caretakers going next turn and copy something for a draw. Fast Viper, turn 3. Empty board, kind of nice. Hopefully they don't have a Sheltered by Ghosts. Hopefully they don't have just like a lethal getcha kind of plan. Play the fetch, pass. What you got? Shock. Slick Shot. Bolt Wave. Attack. Boros Charm. For not lethal, but quite a big chunk of damage here. Do we still want this Godless Shrine? What would we rather have? I think we don't want the Godless Shrine anymore. Kind of, once again being... Okay, Raven Eagle, probably our best draw there, actually, to be honest. So we hit them with both of these, make them have it. They had to discard 2 Lightning Strikes, sweet. We have a Raven Eagle for Bloxies. Make a clue. Pass it to ya. So they're just straight up burn. Okay. And they have a shock in hand. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Looked pretty good on our end, though. Not so bad, huh? Looked pretty good. Once again, lack of removal. Bring in the Get Lost. Bring in the Soul Searches. I think these handpick effects tend to be pretty nice against these sort of aggressive burn strategies where they need just a critical mass of effects. Bring in the Reliquaries. I think the Viper is probably our best game plan. Let's take out the Talents. Pretty slow. Bartolome seems good. Obsessive Pursuit, that seems like a good plan. Maybe cut some Callous Inspectors because they hurt us when they die. Right, like that. Currently 2-1 overall in our match record. I'd like to win this one. I'd like to win the next one. Get a clean 4-1. We're going to keep this on the strength of Obsessive Pursuit. Get to lead on our tapped Godless Shrine into Tolls of War. Threaten our Dusk Rose Reliquary here. Go Dusk Rose, hold up, Get Lost. Or maybe we get to tap out for Obsessive Pursuit. Depends on if they plot a Slick Shot, yeah, we have to hold up removal here. Okay, Fabled Passage is kind of a good draw. Let's go ahead. Hit the Hired Claw here. Pass it to ya. They're gonna make me have removal. I'm gonna make them act before I kill this. They're gonna hit me. I'm gonna hit them. A beautiful back and forth in this game of Magic of ours. Raven Eagle is actually really sweet here. We can eat their Slick Shot show off. Generate a clue. I think we still want to hold the fetch for an Obsessive Pursuit turn. And maybe hold this back for chumps. If we really, really need to. Hopefully it won't come to that. They kill my Raven Eagle. Okay. Let's go Obsessive Pursuit. Let's draw a card. Trigger our Tools of War. Nice, another Pursuit. Let's hold our fetch. Swing for 1. Sorry, swing for 2. And then next turn we're threatening a pretty decent lifelink swing. Actually 2 lifelink swings with our double Pursuit here. I've never had 2 on the field. And I'm happy to be in a position where I get to do it. So we go Obsessive Pursuit. Hopefully they don't have like shock. That'd be kind of embarrassing. Crack a Fabled Passage. We have a 3rd body for next turn to do this all again, pretty much. Okay, this looks kind of sweet, right? I mean, drawing lands is not necessarily sweet, but we have a lot of clues to work with here. Spread the love. We want to get something from this. We can't get... Hopefully we don't get nothing from this. Okay. We're getting something from this. Really nice. They're trading, which is fine. We still have a 1/1 to work with and many more on the way. I kind of think we're in a good position. Nova Hellkite to clean up our next attacker's not, like, great for us, but not the end of the world either. What would we love to see? I think we'd love to see maybe just, like, another Tools of War to ensure more attackers here. Hurting ourselves a bit. A Viper's not bad. Play the Verge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can afford to crack the clue. Maybe we hit some boots for our Viper. Oh, no way, dude. Okay. So we don't just kill them, but we hit them for quite a lot with lifelink. Yo, what a sweet turn, Hearn. What do you think, dude? What do you think, dude? Yo. GG. Viper's gonna get ya. Viper's gonna get ya, dude. Alright. Move on to the next one. Unmute you here, see if you are throwing out like a little love in my direction, perhaps? No, all good, all good. Didn't want it anyway. Yeah, run it back. That was sweet. That was sweet. Exactly like we drew it up. Ooh, baby. Rottenmouth Viper. See, it's like Cottonmouth Viper, but instead it's got a rotten mouth because it's nasty, you know? Dang, that was sweet. Boots off the top, right when we needed them. After drawing a million lands, so not the most lucky, but like pretty good result there. This is a fine hand. It's fine. A little painful. I think we can lead on free boots here. Basically, we'll shock ourselves. I don't know. Maybe you just play the Godless Shrine tapped anyway, but Verge is good. Let's search their soul a little here. Tesa is not ideal for us. Let's take them off the Tesa. Cather Commando, interesting. I think we just search their soul again. And then if they like play a Cather Commando, maybe we just shock in a freebooter. Oh, we're taking another show off, baby. Actually, it's better to play the Inspector. Not as fragile to this obliterating bolt here. Shocking ourselves is not the best, but like forces this action here, and then maybe we can get through with a big Bartolome. Another matchup where I think it draws into focus how important the Obsessive Pursuit element of this deck is, being able to gain so much life in a backswing. Killing my clue? I don't mind that at all. Lightning Strike. Let's get Bartolome involved. And we can support him with the freebooter. And Get Lost is a good draw. Okay, I think we're just going to leave it like that then. Protect him. Leave up enough permanents to sack to protect him. Another Slick Shot show off actually just wins them the game. Alright, good games. Oh man, tight. GG's. Dang, dude. Did we... It happened so quickly, it's hard to tell, like, did we do everything right there? I don't know. We ended up having to shock ourselves for a blocker that wasn't relevant. Not enough answers to their aggression. I think we keep getting punished. And I haven't made any changes to the deck throughout this quote-unquote league, but we keep getting punished for having a lack of main deck removal. So I think the final version we settle on has to have some amount of either Dusk Rose Reliquaries or Seam Rips or Get Lost, just something to keep up with everything here. This is a great hand. I think we just want to get as many clues on the field as early as possible. Bristly Bill. Ooh, nice draw. So we get to go Bartolome and threaten a big nasty attack next turn. We can even get another pursuit on the field and swing with 2 life-linked buffed guys. Yeah. This card is the truth. Once again, if I had them, I'd run 4, because I think I want this every game. Every matchup, every game. It's like it just greases the wheels. It makes everything work. Helps us survive. Starting town. Well, let's run it. Not much else to be done here. Actually, I think I'm just going to double buff the menace attacker. Because then it takes them off of any kind of... No. We want the extra lifelink. And if they double block anyone, they lose them. Nice. Disgusting. Absolutely filthy. Magic the Gathering being presented right here. Absolutely filthy. I wonder if even you're supposed to, like, sacrifice the Callous Inspector there and just swing with a huge Bartolome. But I think the Menace is going to be an important factor here coming up. Okay, I think we can win through this. If we draw a land, we get to go Tolls of War, Sephiroth. We have a million permanents to sacrifice. Nice. So we play the Tolls of War. We sacrifice the Clue, play the Sephiroth, sacrifice, draw. And then if they block, they're going to die to the Sephiroth triggers, I think. Who's the uninteractive swing with a huge ass creature on an unreasonably short clock deck now? Landfall. Check out these bad boys. I think they're dead here. At the very least, they have to give up the Hydra, which means they're dead here. Kind of a nasty card. Obsessive Pursuit. Bye. Nasty card here, this Obsessive Pursuit. Kill off the Hydra. More Sephiroth triggers. Sephiroth flips. Unfortunately, they're not actually dead, but for all intents and purposes, they are dead here. Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier. I actually think maybe if we had put the counters, doubled the counters on the Inspector, we would have had a big enough attacker to force killing 2 creatures. In the minutia of everything there, I think that was a guaranteed deterministic lethal. Just a bit of an error on my part, but I don't think ultimately it mattered. I mean, obviously it didn't matter. All right, let's learn from last time. We'll take out the talents. By the way, 3 matches against landfall in this league is really weird. I have not seen landfall on the ladder consistently in any degree in the past several months. I think let's cut Bartolome again, actually. I mean, he looked good there, but yeah, we can go down 2. I think this looks right. He's not as important because, especially if they're on the play, they're really threatening much bigger attackers than we are. I think we're fast Hydra or wipe the board and, go from there. But I think we're going to keep this. It's a little awkward with the double boots, but even if we were to, like, mulligan, yeah, we can mulligan into a better hand, but it's not so bad. We'll play out our freebooter. Sephiroth with boots is kind of nice eventually, maybe. The Chocobo. think we're just gonna play out double boots this turn. Ooh, little Viper to go with our shoes. Snake in my boot, more like boots on my snake. Am I right, gamers? Sorry. Pass it to you. Now we got options. We're setting ourselves up. Boom, Sephiroth. Boom, Snake. Shoes on both of them. A match made in heaven. Not really. Kind of a little weird together, but. What you got? Simic for the win. I feel like I've played against Simic for the win about 1,000,000 times. Certainly a name I've seen before here. Okay, well, I think we have to get Lost the Hydra then. As much as we are threatening to kill them, they are, in turn, threatening to kill us quite a bit as well. Get Lost the Hydra. No nonsense. Put some boots on my booter. kind of a boots tribal deck. Another Hydra. If they swing, do we block? If they swing, do we block? I think so. Maybe not. Maybe we just want the Sephiroth. Trigger. I don't know. Oh, that's a good draw. Okay, so this lets us Sephiroth and get lost, which is huge. Sephiroth. Draw land, not the best. Dodge a land. Rainia. Just once again, just playing around Snakeskin Veil. You get the Hydra off the field when you can. It'd be nice to see like a Tolls of War maybe here. Get some chumpers going. Hard hitting question. That's what it's looking like. World Soul's Rage. 3 damage. Land cards. Sweet. Grab your fetches back. Nice. One more land from the hand. Okay. Well, they're in a pretty good position. Not gonna lie. Bartolome. You've returned to me, my son. Chump with Bartolome? And pass? Chump with Bartolome and pass? Kind of think that's what we got. We need to draw a little more. I mean, they have enough mana to pay for all this ward, but we need to draw a little more. I don't know, stuff. We need to like carrot cake, you know, something to just chump with here, unless they have removal for Bartolome. But let's just assume they draw nothing but lands forever. Like we could eventually win through this. Something tells me they have another World Soul's Rage. I want to try this card out. It seems pretty nice. I think I'd rather do it in like some kind of Ice Till Explorer deck. Maybe with like Rampant Growth in the format now, you could go like play Elves, obviously, play some Ice Tills, play Rampant Growths, World Soul's Rage, and Morlin. and just like be this like big top end X spells rampy. I mean, are these decks ever good? I don't know, but Ice Till's a pretty interesting card. Seems like it would play well with World Soul's Rage. Snakeskin Veil. Dodging it. We don't want it. Longest turn, no offense, longest turn in the world for someone that's just got some fetches to crack, and I mean, I'm just dead to that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? Actually, not really. I'm not really just dead to that because they can't fetch now for the extra mana. They don't have enough mana for it to be a lethal fireball to the face quite yet. Another Viper. Okay. Little Viper chump. Little Viper chump. Oh no, I am dead. Because they can just kill the Viper and hit me. Okay. Game 3. Let's bring in the inspectors again. Try to get a more of an aggressive start here. Go down 2 Day of Judgment. Try it like that. I don't know. Maybe you never cut the Day of Judgment in this matchup. Maybe it's just too good at getting through their Snakeskin Veils, etc., etc. This is a pretty good hand. No removal, but a solid curve out. A good hand for Sephiroth. We have some creatures to sack, chump with. Carrot cake. I think we want the Tolls of War. Lines up nicely with Sephiroth. Doing Chocobo stuff. I think we just want to sack a rabbit here. Nice, good draw. We're not like the best Sephiroth deck because we actually don't have really a glut of creatures to sacrifice. Sometimes we do. But I think the classic aristocrat style has a bit more like creature, Sephiroth, and whatever they sack becomes a creature again, so they just continue to fill the board. But it's been a pretty solid card in our deck. Card advantage. Just another angle. We get to go Tolls of War and Reliquary the Traveling Chocobo. Another Sephiroth is kind of good. I think what I'm gonna do here is swing and trade. Trade for this bill here. I'm gonna leave my Menace guy in the mix. No trade. Okay. Not the end of the world. Could be fine. If we're able to maybe flip this Sephiroth here soon, like say we get a Viper. We're getting pretty close to flipping Sephiroth if we draw a Viper or a Bartolome. Our Dinkers are pretty nice through their non-trampling creatures here. Seed Chip Impact, pretty good draw. Ward 2 on the Reliquary, quite nice. I kind of feel like they played a land already, which they didn't need to do. I think they goofed a little bit on that in the sequencing. Sacrifice this. Make a guy. Fabled Passage is cool. I can't quite swing, but if I Carrot Cake, they can't quite swing. On account of all the tokens. And Sephiroth. Let's save our fetch. Pass it to you. I'd like to be able to draw. Lander. They're manipulating the top of their library. One of our neighbors has a pellet stove that they heat their house with. So we frequently get wafts of like, I live in Michigan and it's cold, and we frequently get wafts of smoke, like a smoky pellet stove furnace sort of smell. And every time it happens, I'm like, am I having a stroke right now? And then I just have to remind myself, my house is not on fire. My neighbors have a wood burning stove that they use. Let's get a scry in. We might want to draw off this Sephiroth here. Freebooter. Can skip on that. Maybe we cycle the Sephiroth? No, let's just keep setting up. Rottenmouth Viper. That is exactly what we want. Thank you. We'll pass it back to you. Hopefully they don't have some big trample source by now. But actually we're looking really, really good with this this Viper draw. We'll leave the Carrot Cake as another permanent to sacrifice. It'll generate another ally next turn, and then once we swing with the Sephiroth, we can sacrifice even more creatures and more triggers. It should all play together quite nicely. 2 Sephiroths on the field. It looks like actually they're about to kill my Sephiroth, unfortunately. Okay. We have backup Sephiroth. We're not necessarily just dead. Put some lands back into play. No trample yet, as far as I can tell. Lots of triggers. Let me just go make sure my house isn't on fire. Oh snap, I didn't unmute my mic. When I came back, I paused the recording and didn't unmute my mic. Yo, kind of a sweet turn, huh? Backup Sephiroth paid off well. My house is not on fire, thankfully. And unless they have trample in some capacity, I think we're set up pretty well to go for a lethal attack with this one-winged angel next turn. But something about where I'm sitting right now, I don't think it's my computer, I don't think it's my microphone. I think I'm just like happen to be in a position where the smell of burning wood stove just gets like vented directly into me. Maybe it's my computer. Maybe my computer's dying. It's gosh, it's about 10 years old at this point. And I have not touched it since I built it. She's held up well. She's held up well, no problems. Not giving me a single problem. You got any trample, son? Show me an overrun. Show me a big World Souls Rage on the Sephiroth. Okay. But I still have this. You have attackers, but you have tramplers. You only have creatures to sacrifice to my Viper. I think I'm doing okay. I think we're going to see a 3-2 record. I think we can finally give up an inspector. They fought well. Drain ya from downtown. Get the clue. Swinging with the Viper. I think it can only be good for us, basically. Maybe I probably should have played the second inspector and sacked the clue first. Maybe hit the obsessive enchantment. Drain ya. Give up the Viper, drain ya. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do this first. Yeah, well. Play a starting town. Basically, now they have to draw anything, and a land will not do it. Because I can just swing out next turn and they'll die. They need to draw trample. And actually, trample is definitely enough. Because they can double counters with Bristly Bill. Really just depends on what they have in hand. They might think I have removal. Bird off the top. Land. Okay, they're dead. Good games. Good games. Hit him with a good game. Get lost. Three and two. Not bad overall. Not bad, not bad. Weird video. Call from my mom. Maybe my house is on fire. Forgetting to unmute my mic. 3 landfall matchups. I just wish we saw a little more variety perhaps, but fun games overall. Bill's making the stuff big. Kill you with the Sephiroth emblem. Kinda nasty. GG's. GG's. And that's all she wrote, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, let's take a look back at the deck list here. What did we think? Regrets, changes that we would make? I think more removal, more obsessive pursuits. What would we cut in favor of that? I think maybe we go down like 2 Caretaker's Talent. We ended up cutting it a lot in the more aggressive matchups. I think we would have preferred a more versatile sort of more removal, less Caretaker's Talents. Basically, that's the gist. More obsessive pursuits. Obsessive pursuits and all the clues that we're generating kind of play this role of being able to grind out in our game 1 anyway. I think Caretaker's Talent maybe feels more like a sideboard card in this deck, but otherwise the core is very solid. I think Sephiroth plays out very nicely with Tolls of War eventually, but we're not like a hyper Sephiroth deck. So were I to make any changes, and if you're interested in playing this, cut 4 Taker's Talent. I think maybe leave like 2 in the sideboard. Move the Dusk Rose Reliquaries maybe to the main, or the Get Lost to the main in place of those. And then 2 more Obsessive Pursuits. Because those were like nuts every time we had them. If you wanted to go down to like 1 Lava Spur Boots, I think you could. I think it's pretty solid in this deck with the Viper plan though. I was kind of impressed by Raven Eagle actually. It seemed decent, but I think you could cut it as well if you just wanted to play more removal. Otherwise, everything flowed nicely. Even without the Caretaker's Talent, I think Carrot Cake plays really nicely with just having this glut of 1/1s to work with our Tolls of War and with our Vipers and everything. So yeah, thanks for checking it out. I think I'll try to do one more video with this, kind of land on a solid spot with it, and then maybe post a little write-up with some details and some final thoughts. So thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.